Assalamu'alaikum Warahmatullahi Wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. So here we are from Group 2, which consists of me, Rachma Nur Asih, and my friends Ilham, Roziqun, Nafik. We are going to present about assessment instrument grid from Mathematics Learning Assessment. There are 6 contents. The first is grid, formative assessment, daily assessment, midterm assessment, final term assessment, and how to arrange the grid. The first content is grid. So what is grid? The grid is a format that contains criteria for the items to be written. The grid is used as a draft of the questions writing that must be followed by question writer. The purpose of compiling the grid is so that the test kits that will be compiled do not deviate from the materials and aspects of the test that will be measured in the test, or in other words, it aims to ensure the validity of the content and its relevance to student abilities. There are 2 conditions of the grid. First is the grid can accurately represent the curriculum content, and the second, the grid has a number of clear components that are easy to understand. And there are 6 components of the grid. The first is competency standards, 2 basic competencies, material descriptions, class materials, indicators, and question weight. The second is formative assessment. Formative assessment is part of the learning steps carried out during teaching and learning activities that are part of the daily practice of educators and students in the teaching and learning process in the classroom. And the purpose of formative assessment are to improve the learning process, not just to determine the level of students' ability, and to obtain information about the strengths and weaknesses of the learning that has been carried out, and use that information to improve, change, or modify learning to be more effective and can improve students' competence. There are 3 principles that underlie the implementation of formative assessment. First is formative assessment integrated with ongoing learning activities. Second, students in its implementation. And the third, regarding not only progress in mastering the domains of attitudes, knowledge, and skills, but also learning motivation, attitudes towards learning, learning styles, and cooperation in the learning process. So the third content is daily assessment. Daily assessments are usually held to determine learning outcomes or to improve the learning process. Daily assessments are carried out after a series of learning activities take place in completing one basic competency or one them for elementary schools level. The results of the daily assessment are the average values obtained from the results of daily assessments through written tests and or assignment for each basic competency. So the fourth content it will be explained by my friend Ilham. Please Ilham.
Okay, I will continue. The next is midterm assessment. A midterm is a test that a student takes halfway through the school term. A midterm refers to the assessment written in the middle of an academic term to test students' comprehension, thus far in a course. Midterms are a type of formative assessment which measures students' understanding of course materials throughout a term and identifies areas in which students struggle. And next is the final term assessment. The final test, the final assessment, or is the last activity students must complete in a course. A final assessment is similar in nature to a summative assessment, which includes end of unit tests, standardized testing, and cumulative work such as curating a portfolio over the duration of a course. A final assessment refers to the task that evaluates students' progress in a course. This is a way for students to recognize their weakness and for instructors to understand where they have excelled and where is needed when teaching. And next is how to arrange the grid. To arrange the grid for the assessment is similar for all of assessment. The first is to determine one basic competencies. For example, the basic competencies 3,2 of mathematics 12th grade or other. And the second, selecting essential materials. For example, in basic competence 3.2, the of mathematics 12th grade, there is a material about statistics. And the third is formulating indicators of competence achievement. For example, solve problems related to the mean of group data in a direct way. And next is formulating the questions indicators. For example, students are able to determine the average group data in a direct way. And next is sorry. Okay, next is determine the form of test. So we must determine the test will be written, verbal, or practice, or other form of test. And next is determine the number of the questions. And after that, we determine the form of questions. It will be multiple choice, essay, or answer orally, or etc. And the last is determine the difficulty of level. We will build the questions easy or medium or difficult. And this is the example of formative assessment grid. As we have there is a basic competence, and then next we choose the material. Next is indicators. There is question indicators and test form, question form, and difficulty level. It's also similar with the previous one. This is the daily assessment grid. And okay, I think that's all. I'm sorry for our mistakes, and thank you.